I'm gonna be honest, I thought I was gonna be late about talking about Tottenham's downfall, but I'm gonna be real with you. It's never too late to talk about how shit Tottenham are.
What do we think of Tottenham? What do you think of shit?
It's crazy because these guys went from making me feel like this during a European final to now actually becoming relegated. I mean, United are gonna go to the Champions League, so I don't even have to worry about stuff like this, to be honest. I know that we lost against Leeds, okay? It was a robbery. You guys need to understand this. The things I want to say to the person who officiated that game,
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble.
Tottenham Hotspur are actually in a very weird place right now. Not long ago, they were in a Champions League final. They just won the Europa League last year. They built a gigantic stadium just for them to possibly play Lincoln City next year.
Whoa. This is the Championship away end?
Mate, are we playing football or the Super Bowl?
They had a world-class striker in Harry Kane. They had an amazing and electric supporting cast. For a moment, it genuinely looked like all the cheapskating that Daniel Levy was doing for the last 20 years was actually going to pay off. Well, from the business side, sure, it probably did. But like overall, it really didn't. And my question now is, how did they end up stuck? Is there a way that they can actually bounce back from this? And will they actually get relegated? Tottenham haven't won a single Premier League game the whole of 2026. Everyone else has won a team, including Wolves. Back in the mid to late 2010s, Tottenham were actually on the rise. They had amazing players like Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane, Son Heung-min. I swear, that man scanned the whole of that South Korea peninsula.
Let me tell y'all how in 7 days I fooled the internet.
Have you ever woken up at 2 in the morning to watch a Premier League game?
Sono Cristiano Ronaldo. No Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, get away. Sono Messi.
Put that on Mother say, put that on Allah. Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi.
Literally, I was on one of the LAFC games like a few months ago when they were playing against Houston Dynamo. I mean, they beat us, of course. I mean, it's LAFC, if we're crying out loud. They were considered one of the most exciting teams in football. Under Pochettino, they weren't just winning games, they did have an identity. They played fast attacking football and they had a young squad that looked like they were only getting better. Even Dele Alli, the Cole Palmer before the Cole Palmer. This man used to do things that people were like, yeah, he's gonna be up next. If that World Cup 2026 alarm is still ringing, to be honest. So you might have to pack it up, chat. Their aim was to build for the future, not just to buy now. And maybe that's what stunted the growth. For a whole transfer window, they didn't buy a single player. Don't you think that's gonna stunt their growth for a while? Because players get tired, they get injured, and over time, it doesn't make them progress. Even though they lost the Champions League final in a very weird fashion, they were actually still building something bigger. Right after the final, everything just started to go wrong. Like I said, Tottenham didn't even rebuild. They didn't refresh the squad. This man thought that he had the Avengers on his side, the way that he just decided to buy no one else. While other clubs were like improving and investing, with City buying Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish and literally winning the Champions League that season, Spurs was just there. Key players began to decline. Every player's favorite player, Moussa Dembele, had already retired, and they didn't capitalize on their momentum. After that, dangerous energy was gone. It just slowly disappeared. That Lucas Moura moment just became something of just a memory. And then honestly, the biggest issue of them all, confusion. They've forgotten their identity. They forgot who they are, and once they started losing games in a consistent fashion, they didn't know what to do anymore. They started changing managers, and even the managers, even after Pochettino, they didn't know what to do with the squad. Levy fired Mourinho right before a final. You know how brain dead you have to be to fire a coach who's been with the squad? Even if the coach is ass, of course they were going to lose. Conte said the same thing. He didn't believe Spurs had an identity. They were extremely stagnant, and they only wanted to focus on the future instead of winning now. And I believe him because he actually won with Chelsea. Yeah, some managers, they like to stay with the club for a certain amount of years and leave because their kind of style of play is very demanding. They don't like to stay for a club for way too long. Mourinho and Conte, they're those type of coaches. But regardless, if they want to win, they'll win. Mourinho won a European trophy with Manchester United. When I was with Tottenham, I felt like I was at home. No coach after Pochettino has really said that about Tottenham.
You're in 15th. Go chat to Brighton and Fulham and them, man. They're the clubs.
And it was just short-term fixes. Even in current times, when they got Igor Tudor, by the way, his father passed away, and that's honestly, I guess it's one of the reasons why he actually left, because you can't even like build anything in that kind of trouble. It's just very depressing. And even when they brought De Zerbi, it's like, why are you bringing De Zerbi? Is there a long-term solution to this? Is he the one to actually be the person to play? I know they're a big club, they have big ambitions and they want a coach who fits that philosophy because he was actually becoming successful at Marseille. But honestly, at this point, you're in a relegation battle. Take your ego, throw it out the window, and actually bring Big Sam, bro. Bring Big Sam. And honestly, when you keep changing directions like that, you can't even move forward. You just kind of start drifting. At the same time, recruitment doesn't really help. I mean, they brought good signings like Xabi Simons, Kudus, Christian Romero, Van de Ven, but they still struggle for some reason with squad depth. They still have decent players, but when those players get injured, do they have anyone on the bench that can help sustain that momentum? Bro, they're relying on Archie Gray to control the midfield. That's no disrespect to him. There's a reason why he's in the Prem, but he's not controlling the goddamn midfield. Like I said, don't get it twisted. These players are not bad. Like, they're not that average. They might not even get relegated, who knows? But at the same time, their identity, their mentality is lost. That's why they're in the position that they're in. They already believe that they're relegated. That's why they keep losing every single game, because the belief is not there. They want to win, but they don't believe that they can win. That's the issue. I think the stadium is one of the reasons why they're not even like trying to build a squad too as well. Like, why did you build a big stadium if you don't have a, I mean, it's made them some funds business wise, but like football wise, they don't really like recruit. They don't really like get like new players that can fit a system. They never even really replaced Harry Kane. I mean, Dominic Solanke, Richarlison, like not a decent replacement for Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane was like a one and done, and they won't really get a player like that ever again. I mean, obviously right now Tottenham are just stuck in this like the worst ever position that the club has ever been in. I mean, they've been relegated before. The last time that they were relegated, it was in the late 70s. When they played against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, it showed that their qualities, they were fighting to do a remontada, but they were not going to do that. They don't have the mental capacity and power to pull that off. They probably will get relegated with this current mentality. It gives me Schalke vibes as well. Most of this is more financial. It's very financial. Like I said, psychological, and it's mental. And they need to get those two down. Financial, they can figure it out. They're a very big club. But if they go to the championship, I'm telling you, I have a feeling FFP are going to hammer them with points deduction for some reason. Honestly, they're just there. Like I said, until they have a full vision to really commit and have a real identity again and an actual long-term plan, the cycle is honestly not going to stop. But yeah, just comment your thoughts about this current situation about Tottenham. It's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of funny, but it's also sad at the same time. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a while, it's been a minute, I understand, but life's been really hitting me. I'm not even gonna say I'm back. I'm just gonna be creating more content and trying to be more consistent with you guys. Follow me on my social media and also subscribe to my Patreon if you're also interested. I post these videos on there earlier, and also just extra content if you're interested in like art and stuff. That's just what I do. I appreciate the people who also support me on Buy Me Coffee as well. All my socials are DRD Sofa. And apart from that, thank you guys for watching, and until then, I'll see you again.